Brian Beeler here from StorageReview, and today we're going to show you brand new appliances from Object First's line of UTB storage. Now, we've looked at UTB before. We used one of their first 64 terabyte models in the lab for many months, and we loved a lot about that, mostly the ease of setup. It took literally minutes to get done. In fact, I missed the first setup because I was eating lunch and anticipated it would take longer than it would. Needless to say, it was fast and easy, and Kevin was overjoyed at how simple it was to get online. The other thing we really liked was the ease of management. The GUI is fantastically simple. Even I can work through it, so IT generalists will have no problem, but everything from monitoring the system, checking alerts, and updating, very, very simple. Object First takes all of that stuff that was great about the first units and carries that forward now to a very big appliance with this 432 terabyte unit that's based on Dell hardware. We'll tear all of that down here in just a second and show you what's special about this unit, down to a 20 and 40 terabyte unit that's based on a version of the original Supermicro chassis, which is perfect for edge locations, SMB locations, distributed enterprise, where they might have many locations, with smaller units being more appropriate there than the 64 or 128 terabyte units that initially came out at launch. A couple other big updates since our initial review. The software has been updated quite a bit, actually. They do progressive changes with point releases, so that's always happening. But 1.6 is out, and that encompasses a bunch of new stuff like role-based access control, improved S3 metadata handling, syslog alerting, new thresholds, better multi-node resiliency, smoother updates, which is actually surprising because updates, I think, were already super smooth. Now they're more efficient, which is even better. Another major change that fits in really well with the way enterprises are buying IT gear these days is that of subscription pricing. You can buy it CapEx if you want, but if you prefer an OpEx model, that's there, and that should help their channel partners too, give them a little more flexibility as they take this system to market. Whether it's this big box that's 432 terabytes or the smaller 20 terabyte model, nothing's fundamentally different with the way you deploy it. They all come with this little poster card that shows you how to get going out of the box with the system, rack, stack, a couple commands, and off you go. You can do it yourself, your integrator can do it, but if you need a little more help, Object First is there for that as well. We'll dive into the GUI just a little bit because I just want to refresh what that looks like and get that in your mind in terms of the simplicity of operation. Then we'll tear apart these hardware units, both the little one and this one, and this one's really exciting for a number of reasons. It's the Dell PowerEdge R760 XD2, and what this lets Object First do is double up the hard drives. While you've got 12 in the front, to accessing this mid plane here, which I'm doing while it's powered on, just so you know, from a serviceability standpoint, to reveal 12 more hard drives behind. That's what lets them get to 432 terabytes. In the back, there's more flash. We'll look at all of that and show you what that means. But just know that from a serviceability, this system is online. It's currently backing up our environment in the StorageReview lab, and we can easily get access to all 24 of those hard drives. The only thing this system doesn't get, that's the bright orange bezel across the front, because this system in particular needs more airflow for all of the hard drives. And I know that's a little bit of a sticking point for Object First because we heard it when we had that unit in our rack for all those months in the lab with that bright orange bezel. That aggravated Object First's competitors more than anything else that we ever did for them. So this one doesn't get a fancy aggravating bezel for the competitors, but it does get double density, easy serviceability, and all sorts of other cool things going on. So we're going to run through the GUI first real quick, just 2 seconds. Just want to show you some of the highlights there, and then we'll rip this thing out of the rack, get the little one, and show you the hardware differences that really make this combined solution with Object First and their hardware platforms really unique in backing up and protecting veeam environments. So I promise we'll just take a quick look at the GUI. Kevin's here to walk us through it. I could walk you through it because it's that simple, but I'll let Kevin drive. What's your favorite thing about the GUI for Object First?
The dashboard is really simple. It gives you the highlights the second you log into the platform. So right now we get to see that the software has a version update. We see the used data.
Which in our lab is very small. It's kind of funny, we've got only a couple terabytes backed up, right?
Oh yeah, out of 427 terabytes.
Yes, the advantage of having a 432 terabyte appliance.
Yeah, so you can see your storage capacity, the forecast. I think will be good for the foreseeable future on this.
Now, if we did want to have say we're in a highly regulated industry and we wanted to have a lot of immutable backups, then that space could be critical, even though your backup footprint might not be that large.
Yeah, I mean, you need to take a lot of those things into account. Then obviously you get to see your network throughput. In this case, we have a backup job going on right now, although generally if we drill into our normal access, we have backup jobs that hit every night. Like sane individuals, you may not want to have a backup window in the middle of your production week.
For the purposes of movie magic, though, we've kicked off a backup so we can have some of these live meters active, so we don't have to film this at 1 a.m.
Correct. But beyond that, I mean, it's really easy. So in our cluster view, we have one node. We get to see the networking to the single box. We have both ports connected to a 10 gig interface at the moment, although this model also supports 25 gigs, so you can go up to a 2 gig a second ingest speed. And then obviously the disk view, in this case, this model has 24 terabyte drives, 2 are hot spare, and the rest go into a RAID 6. You have your these 480 gig NVMe drives. Those are boss SSDs. So in the Dell ecosystem, that is the RAID 1 storage for your OS. We then have the 24 terabyte hard drives. And at the very bottom, this 1.6 terabyte NVMe cache disk.
Yeah, these are 24s. If you think about now that 30s are shipping, once that gets qualified through the Dell ecosystem, the 432 becomes whatever that is, plus 6 times 24 minus RAID 6 overhead. I don't know.
And then on our view here, we get to see the 2 buckets. We have one that's version, one that's unversioned. The versioned bucket is the one with immutable storage enabled. So that is, it's controlled. That's the data you can't delete accidentally.
And that's the part that is inherent to UTB. That's one of the O's. Wait, no, that's the I. The immutability is so important. It's the I at the end of UTB. I mean, that's the critical part that protects your data from ransomware. Once that backup is put into an immutable bucket, it cannot be manipulated.
Well, until the flag expires. So
well, then it's no longer immutable.
Correct. So in this case, I believe we have a backup job with veeam set to 7 days. And you can go, you can really set that to anything you want to.
Right.
Now, you may not want to overextend it because at that point, you really can't delete it.
We did that the first time. We messed up our UTB by setting everything to immutable and then learned the hard way what happens when you do that.
Yes, we filled it up pretty quick.
One of my favorite things about the system is how easy it is to update. Even I can do it. I don't know if Kevin gave me access to the system yet, but
We've got the password.
We've got one alert, and that'll tell you you've got an update. And like, I don't know, most of these systems that are backup appliances have to go offline or something to run their updates, but this is live in place, right?
Yeah, so if it's smaller packages, it'll install them on the fly. I believe if there is more kernel updates, it will initiate a reboot process. But it is really simple to just basically check for updates and it finds the latest versions, and then you click Update Cluster. You get to see what the version, what the update changes are.
Yeah, mostly looks like
click install.
Enhancements, bug fixes, the normal stuff.
Yeah.
And they put out updates on a pretty regular cadence. This one says it'll take, went from 5 minutes to 1 minute. It's pretty quick, and then it should just be alive again, right?
Well, I think it's alive right now. I mean, technically, we were doing it while backup process was going into the box.
That's true. So we're running a backup and updating the appliance at the same time. Now, let's see if our backup failed or had any problems. Are we still seeing activity?
No, it finished before we kicked it off.
Oh, just in time.
Yes.
All right. But it would have probably been fine, or maybe veeam would have gotten error and tried again. Whatever the case, probably don't run the updates while backups are active, but you do you.
But overall, I mean, it's a really nice, easy to use platform. It covers all the basics. You get to see your monitoring, you get to see your storage, you get to see the network traffic, and updates are just, it's painless.
Speaking of painless, I showed the card at the intro and talked about how easy it is to set up. I missed the first install when we looked at it many months ago because I thought it would take longer than it did to get active. I did sit in on the call with you and Object First. It felt like, 8 to 9 minutes to be online, and
you give
we did the racking part.
Yes, we spent more time racking it than the actual setup, because from out of the box, it's basically you're giving the thing an IP address, and then it immediately goes onto the web interface.
For the Object First channel partners that are deploying these in the wild, this has got to be a dream.
Oh yeah, it's very few steps, and unlike you put in a lot of steps and then you stand back while it twirls in the background, This one is just it's alive, and you go onto the web interface.
Yes, and the twirl in the background is not insignificant. We've seen so many of these appliances that are 15 minutes to configure, and while that's legally true, the background processes before you can start using it can be hour or more. Like Kevin said, this thing, you go from this worksheet to online to the GUI to provisioning your buckets to Veeam, connecting it in literal minutes.
It's painless.
What's the next transition? To hardware?
Yeah.
Wait, I have to do the transition.
Well,
Well, that's dead anyway.
yeah.
All right, so now we gave you a quick taste of the GUI. If you want more on that, our first piece and first video looks a lot more at the configuration setup and all those processes, and Object First has a ton of content on that. So after the GUI, now what we want to do is take a look at the hardware. We've got the new little system, and as I already showed you, we've got the new big system. Let's get those out on the table. This guy's definitely a team lift, and take a look at the hardware that makes the UTB appliance come to life in the Object First software, the combination, what makes it so special.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now we're taking a look at the hardware. This is the appliance that supports the 20 and 40 terabyte configurations, 2U Supermicro, 8 hard drives each, right, I think, in these configurations?
Yes, so you have 7 drives in your RAID group. 1 is hot spare.
And it's got the bezel, which is the most important part of this chassis.
But of course.
Why don't you pop that off? Let's see what we've got in here.
Right now we have
okay.
the 8 terabyte hard drives.
So that's 64 drives, 64 terabytes with overhead. This must be the 40 then, right?
I think so, but I don't want to make that commitment on.
Okay, it's either the 40 or the 20. It doesn't make any difference. We've got hard drives in the front. Actually, there's should be some boot drives nestled in there, and then in the back, we've got the NVMe cache drive. Now, the cache drive is in all of their systems, and it's for metadata, it's for ingest acceleration.
Yeah, and I believe this is the 800 gig model. The larger appliances are 1.6 terabytes.
They get a larger drive. Let's pop the lid off and take a look at what's inside.
And the boot drives, they're not quite technically front accessible. They're nestled in right here at the top of the 8 bays. So they're kind of where the positions would be on a 12-bay server, but in this case, they're just right there.
Everything else, though, is pretty standard in this kind of shortish depth Supermicro chassis.
Yeah, we have our dual port 10 gig card.
Right.
We have a PCI slot that holds the battery backup for the RAID card, with a RAID card right here, and it connects over to the SATA SAS expander for the front drives.
Plenty of fans, shroud for the heat sink underneath.
Yeah, so a single processor platform.
It's really, I mean, for what it is, it's dense, it's relatively simple, and for the target market this is going after with the 20 and 40 terabyte appliances, the hardware itself is pretty cost effective.
Yeah, I believe even so. While you have dual port SMP Plus for 10 gig, there's also onboard 10 gig for RJ45, 10G base T connections.
So comparing this to the 64 terabyte version we had, it's mostly about drive count and bays on the front, right?
Yeah, so we go from 12 bays down to 8 bays.
Right, and the drives get moved around a little bit because these top 4 would all be in hard drives before, and the flash was somewhere else. Was that in the back before?
I believe the boot drive was in back, and one of the bays in the front was for NVMe.
Top right bay on that prior one was NVMe. So room for 11 hard drives, and then the 1 NVMe drive. So this 8 hard drives, 2 boot drives, 1 accelerator NVMe drive on the back. But like I said, overall a relatively common and cost-effective platform for those smaller deployments where these UTBs are going to go.
Yeah.
All right, that's out of the way. I feel like, you want to get the intern for that?
I don't think he's strong enough.
Let's get out the big guy.
Get it ready to eject.
Ejection ready.
Well, I was pointed.
Pull harder. And this is how we destroyed. No, what are you doing? You haven't been to Pilates in a while, have you?
No.
We very easily got this out of the rack and set it on the table for your enjoyment. This server is actually one of my favorite that Dell makes. They make a couple specialized servers. This one's for storage density, 24 hard drives in the front.
Yes. You have 12 in the front and then 12 also in the front.
Yeah, I couldn't resist at the beginning. I showed the little pop-up thing, but I know it's got 24 terabyte drives inside, but just pop one out to verify. Voila.
Yes.
And then this little guy,
SAS, by the way.
right? This little guy gets out of the way, and then the magic of the mid plane is pretty cool. And you can, like I said, everything's hot swappable in here. So even if one of these drives were to fail in production, you can pop this open while it's running, switch the drive, slam it back in. Now, I don't think you want to leave it up like this for too long.
No,
because it disrupts airflow.
Yes, the fans will start ramping when there's leaving a little orange LED in there to kind of remind you, close it, and it'll also ramp up in noise.
So if you have a vacant rack U above it, don't operate like this just because it looks cooler.
Yes.
Oh, I know there's no bezel, but what if they did a double bezel where there was one here and in the front?
I think you'd want to close it eventually.
Well, all right, here, I think that'll stay open, won't it? Yeah. Okay, so we slide off this bit, and now we can see all of the fan that drags the air across the system, and then I think we've got 2 thumb screws on the back for the last piece.
And we should be able to open it up this
Wait,
time.
it's still going. Now go. All right. And this is one of your favorite things about Dell's airflow engineering is probably this piece of plastic.
There's a little more than just that piece of plastic, but
Your favorite thing. You love that piece of plastic.
They put every little square centimeter of airflow into the exact spots where it has to go.
All right, so airflow is really managed nicely in this platform. Again, this is one of the reasons why Object First picked this platform for their larger arrays. It's just built for it. It's built for density and reliability. And when you look at things like the air cowl here, the fans that they use, it's all designed to keep those front 24 drives cool. So as we get into the back of the system, there's more to like here. There's twin stack power supplies. Next to over is
RAID card, and then underneath that is the boot storage, which is it's the Dell Boss storage. So these guys are NVMe SSDs in a RAID 1 group.
So for those of you that are backup guys and maybe not hardware guys, this little innovation, when Dell started putting the SATA drives on and the Boss S and now the Boss N with NVMe drives, it's a separate little RAID hardware controller for these 2 drives, right?
Yeah, that's externally accessible. So if a drive fails, you can swap it out without having to dig into the platform.
Another good serviceability measure. And then back here is an optional 4-bay enclosure for this system is critical because it lets Object First use one of them to get in this NVMe drive, 1.6 terabytes, the metadata, acceleration, write acceleration, and recovery helper that makes this whole system come together.
Overall, it's a really cool platform when it comes to a backup appliance. There's a lot of focus on cooling, but it keeps everything cool without being excessively loud. We've kept this going in our lab.
Yeah.
It was even running during the initial stage of this video.
That's a good point.
And
you would think with all those drives that the fans would have to work so hard to keep them cool. It's really not.
Well, yeah, Dell does a good job of making sure that you cool everything appropriately, but not overcooling it. Since spinning fans faster uses more power, and on a platform like this, you're paying for a lot of power you have twice the number of hard drives, you have more compute resources, you have other things in play, and you don't really want extra power just going to needlessly push air through the platform.
I think it's also important to realize too, and it's obviously to you, that's something because you're getting 24 hard drives into you. That platform is very rare out in the wild. It's not like there's a lot of these.
It'd be like a 3 or 4U chassis.
A 3 or 4U chassis normally, so you're going to get a rack density benefit with this system as well, which, you're only talking a couple U, but those U's add up in the data center.
Yeah, especially if it's a colo and you're charged per U. I mean, it does.
There's a lot of reasons why you'd want the density. From a hardware standpoint, this is rock solid. We've seen this server used in plenty of other software-defined scenarios. Object First did a really good job picking this and pairing their software with it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So we've gone through and we've shown you all the new hardware, and actually the new hardware platforms addressed a major concern that initially there was just the 64 and 128. Now we've got 20 terabytes all the way to 432. And actually what's really neat is you can combine any of those systems together in a cluster so that if you buy a 20 and outgrow it and then put a 40 in or a 64 or 432, those can all be grouped together and run in tandem. You don't have to throw your small one away.
No, definitely. You have a lot of options to grow as your data demands grow. I mean, you have Proxmox, you have AI workloads There's a lot of different things generating new data in a data center.
There's no doubt. I mean, AI for sure. veeam's expansion to support Proxmox. That's going to help a ton with those smaller units, especially that might be at edge locations or SMBs. But this one is special to you because I know you made a special request to not send this one back, and Object First obliged.
Yes, it's very dense. It has a lot of storage for
using 1% of the available capacity.
It's room to grow.
We've got room to grow with this system. If you want room to learn more about what Object First is doing, we've got a full report on what's new with the hardware, what's new with the consumption models, 1.6, all the stuff we've been talking about in the video. That's linked in the description below. Check that out to learn more. Until then, stay tuned for Kevin's adventures with this 432 terabyte backup appliance as he tries to fill up this UTB 1% at a time.
Yes, hopefully get to 10% one day.